In order to mount the front end body kit, I needed to temporarily refit the wings because there's a spoiler to go around the front valence and it connects into the arches. I need to hold it on in its correct position with a couple of these screws. And this highlighted the fact that the last two back towards the window need to be drilled out after the repairs I made on my A pillar. So with the wing on, I could drill these out. Looking at this, it's actually hard to believe how much of this area I had apart. There's a couple of clips that slide on here to the area that I repaired, and they go between the edges of two panels that I put in that are held apart by the intersection of another panel. So display them there with the lever. I had the other side for reference. Blow off the swarf and then tap in the little clips, which will give the threads something to bite on in the screws that hold on the wings. As you saw with all those metal shavings, it wouldn't be nice doing this with freshly painted bodywork. Those are tapped into place. I'll just remove this little rubber support for the bonnet. Put that away. I have a couple of these little trays where I'm keeping the screws for the car and other little clips. Just clean off the little bit of rust that's around where the screws go through. So yeah, I'll put in two of these and take out the two that I've already fitted in, and then I can clean up underneath them. Not completely necessary in the sequence of things that I'm doing. I could leave that a bit later, but I'm getting a bit fed up of looking at this rust. Maybe it's a little bit less overwhelming to do this a little by little as I go along. There seems to be a little twist in the wing here. It was pinching the bonnet, and you can see it's rubbed there, a bit of friction with it. So that's something I'll try and resolve when I trial fit the bonnet. At the other end of the wing, just putting one bolt in, screw at the junction between the wing and the valence, so that the trim will go around that properly. It's handy that this original stay is still in place, and I'll use that to locate the wing properly. And you can see there's actually a little bit of a kink in the arch at that point of rust. I'll just push that in a little bit. We'll clean it up and treat it. Don't need to get it too perfect because we're going to have the rubber arch over this. I don't mind using this pretty rough wing. I'll tidy it up, but it's going on a rally car here. It would be awful to waste absolutely mint wings, particularly just for areas that you can't even see. So I think it's good to use these on this particular project, especially where I'm going to be drilling through them. There was actually a little bit of a masking line on this arch, so that's revealing a little bit of Eric, the 1980 Opel Kadett history. So it had a respray there, and yeah, someone just taped off the arches the easy way. So we'll be sanding that properly later, but I just can't resist going around a little bit with the wire wheel. and well, those ones are deep chips right through to the metal, so they do need to be cleaned out properly or else they will corrode. And I'll do this lower flange which holds on the bottom end of the wing because I need it held properly as I'm working on it. So for a trial fit I'm actually putting in quite a few screws. Now I'm going to take off these little studs from that trim which I've already removed off the doors and the quarter panels. See, if the wing was flapping in and out here, it would be quite easy to go too deep with the flap wheel. Things happen very, very fast with the flap wheel. So it's important to avoid going too deep. The two of those removed. And now I'm going to put tape on areas where the original rusted out pins of the plastic arch will make contact, and I'm just going to mark and get two of them on for now in the right positions. The one nearest that little notch is actually missing on the inside, so I'm having to use one a bit further away, but I'm using those notches on both sides to locate the arches. So a little scrape there to mark the tape. And now I'll drill those holes, leaving the old rusty studs on. I will put the arch back on now, and it'll be located a bit easier so that I can mark the rest of the holes. So a little bit more tape in the contact areas. The next one forward is missing at the minute. I don't think anything's going to make contact with that tape for now. And the bottom one is still intact. This arch, it already has a hole drilled through for the top location on this arch from a prior fitting. That's the shallowest one and the hardest one to re-drill from the inside. So that's held nicely in place, and now I'll scribe the next set of holes to drill. So I can do that top one from the outside in. Remember when I did the rear arch, I went through accidentally in a couple of places on that. So anyway, we'll try and keep those holes to a minimum. I'm grinding off one of the studs now. I'll take them all off, bring them back down, and then there's like a flat plate inset in this plastic block in the arch, so I can drill through where the old stud came out, and I can tap that then, and now I can use a threaded screw from the inside of the arch and into these to hold, that's the metal arch of the wing, through to hold on these plastic or rubber arches. That's one of the easiest ones because it's the biggest block. The others are shallower, but I did a good job on the remainder of these apart from that top one, and I didn't actually go through this time. So for the one that was missing a stud and I couldn't scribe, I'm just cutting the head off a bolt and putting a bit of a point on it, and I've threaded that in there. So I'll locate the arch this time just using this small screwdriver through that top hole, and then I can scribe for the last drill hole I need to make. So that's handy enough. Remove the bits of tape. is to look at this from behind and see the holes lining up. It's good to see there's no nasty secrets under my front chassis legs. I'm putting in all the screws because I think it's good motivation actually to get a glimpse of the car with the arches on. Just gives a little bit of a feeling of how it'll look eventually. And that's the one where the stud was broken off, so I actually just turned that bolt, that headless bolt, around, put the pointy bit in and left the original outer end out, and I can put a nut on that. I'll put a bit of sealant on it when I'm putting it on for the final time. And yeah, I've got the bottom one in good shape on this arch. Tight little spot that, so I'm using this ratchet to screw that in. Even in this state, I think the arches are giving Eric a little bit of presence.